When we need a new, well, anything, we go to the internet. And there, when we're looking for cookware, we find fantastic deals, sexy images, awesome stories, and we're enticed to buy online. But if we're gonna buy online, how do we know we're getting the right pan at the right price? Hi, I'm Jed. This is Cook Culture. I've sold cookware for over 30 years. And for most of that time, people would come into my store, I would see them, and I'd be able to show them cookware that they could touch and feel. But that is no longer the case. As things have progressed, customers want to make decisions from wherever they are. I get that. I do too. But how can we make sense of cookware that is online that we can't touch and feel? I believe there are two ways that you can approach buying cookware online. First, you can watch enough content, you can read some reviews, and just go with whatever looks good at whatever sort of price you think is good, and just kind of crapshoot. Or you could really understand your needs and what cookware is out there and make a plan for what you're looking for. There are a range of different types of cookware out there. They all kind of do the same thing. Some of them are a little bit different, of course, than others, like a stock pot and a griddle pan are two very different pieces of cookware. But generally, the core of what you need is similar to some degree, but there can be very distinct differences. So to whittle this down, the workhorses of your kitchen are going to be one of three pieces: a fry pan, a saute pan, or either a saucepan, sauce pot, one of the same. A frying pan is just that, it will fry. The question with a fry pan is, do you want stainless steel, carbon steel, cast iron, or enameled steel? Stainless steel is definitely the most versatile type of cookware that you can buy. It is a very good general pan. It may not cook as well as an iron pan for searing and frying certain types of foods, but generally it's going to do everything very well. And with stainless steel, generally, the more you spend, the better you get. Carbon steel and raw iron is for frying and searing, but you have to be careful with how you cook with it and what you cook with it. The seasoning on carbon steel and cast iron can be delicate and it can get damaged, or it can be amazingly versatile and incredibly nonstick. It's really a specific tool that cooks certain foods better than anything else. For instance, searing meat, browning veggies, but you really should be careful. It's not good for acidic foods and it's not ideal for reducing. The beauty with cast iron and carbon steel is that it doesn't need to cost you the farm. You can get a really good brand new pan for a reasonable price. I'm thinking of something like Lodge cast iron, or you can find fantastic old vintage cast iron pans that will work incredibly well. They just need a little bit of elbow grease to get them into great shape. And to be honest, from my experience, enameled fry pans are not meant for most people. They don't do a job nearly as well as stainless steel, and definitely they won't meet the same expectation as raw carbon or cast iron. I can't tell you how many customers have come to me to buy a frying pan and have left with a saute pan. The reason for this is that people use a frying pan over and over and over again. That's the pan of choice in many homes, not knowing how incredibly versatile and useful a saute pan can be. A saute pan is basically a deep fry pan with a lid, and it's really incredibly versatile, being that if there was one type of cookware that I could have in the kitchen, it would be a saute pan. And almost always saute pans come in stainless steel. A saucepan slash saucepan is ideal for liquids and anything that you want to reduce and slow simmer. You can easily fry, of course, in a saucepan or a sauce pot, but it's not nearly as friendly as a saute pan or a fry pan. Typically, a saute pan is shallower and wider, where a sauce pot, sauce pan is more equal to its width and height. Technically, a sauce pan has a long handle on one side, and it may have a looped handle on the opposite side as a handle helper, and a sauce pot, that also can be called a casserole or a small Dutch oven, has two handles on each side. Okay, so we've covered the basics. Now you've whittled down kind of what it is that you're looking at, but there are so many options on the market. How do you buy something from just these decisions alone? Okay, so first off, I think the single largest question of whenever you're buying cookware is, where's it made? You're going to pay a premium for European or North American made cookware, and you're going to get a deal, hopefully, from cookware that's made in China or even countries like India. And I've actually never seen any good quality cookware out of India. I've seen lots of volume of cookware, but never anything of any even mediocre quality. A lot of it is just very, very, very cheap cookware. So really this comes down to Chinese-made cookware versus European and American-made brands. So let me just say something about Chinese cookware. Chinese cookware has improved a huge amount over the last 10 to 15 years to a point that, I've used lots of different brands and they're really well made. They stand up beautifully, they work really well, they're balanced nicely, they're finished well, all the handles are attached beautifully, the lids fit nicely. There's no issue with them. And usually you're paying 30, 40% less, generally, comparatively to North American or European made. But what does that mean? Why are you paying less? Is it some magical potion that they use in China? Yeah, it's called cheap labor. So if that's an issue for you, if you're concerned about where your cookware comes from and paying a valid price for what it's worth, then maybe Chinese brands may or may not be for you. I have never been assured by any manufacturer that I've ever talked to or importer that, yes, we pay a fair wage for this and we pay a fair wage for that. It's always a price-based commodity when I'm buying from China. It's all about price. And there's never an answer of like, oh yes, it's these families here and this is the money that they make. Where when you're buying, from companies like Lodge or ALL-CLAD, you can go to those factories that are in North America and you can see those people working on those factory lines if that's what you choose to do. And I have seen firsthand where the money that is spent goes to. Is there profit taking in there because they have really, really well-known North American brands? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know the absolute hard costs of what it makes to make a fry pan and what the labor costs and what it then charged on the market. I know that, in general, there's a fairly large price discrepancy between Chinese-made cookware and North American, European-made cookware. So this is a thing that even I struggle with. Right? Like, if you're buying from a well-known brand that's making it out of China, are they deciding to go to a factory that they can be assured? I deal with some pretty massive wholesalers that have their own factories in these third world countries. And, I hope that they're doing the very best that they can, but there's no way to be sure. The only way to be 100% certain that your money is being spent well, consciously, is to be buying North American or European made cookware. Okay, so that aside, you've made a decision, North American, Chinese, but let's go North American in this conversation because it does make things simpler. If you're looking at, random brands out of China, there are just a ton. And you'll find different brands on the shelf that make at the same place and they're basically the same cookware. So it gets messy when you're trying to choose Chinese-made cookware. So if we're really talking about top-end cookware that I do like to talk about because I like the assurance of buying high-quality cookware, then let's talk about North American cookware. North American cookware is dominated by some fairly large brands, and there's not a ton. It's pretty easy to do a search, and if you're looking for, say, a 10-inch Saute Pan, you're going to find maybe 2 or 3 different manufacturers, maybe 5 different manufacturers if you include Europe. But the big brands are the ones in which people usually default to because you can be assured, like an ALL-CLAD. You buy an ALL-CLAD, you're like, oh, it's ALL-CLAD, I know it. My mom had it, my grandma had it. It's going to be what it's going to be and I can expect it. I'm going to pay a premium and I'm going to have it forever. But I highly suggest looking at some of the newer brands, and I'm thinking of brands like Made In, for instance, that are doing a phenomenal job. I'm not trying to promote Made In here. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever. I'm just saying that Made In has carved themselves part of the market in North America for the right reason. They deliver a really good product for a reasonably good price. A lot of North American or European made cookware. Some can be Chinese made, some of it can be coated. So, you have to pick and choose what you're looking at, but there are alternative brands out there. So North American is really the way that I suggest, or even European, and trying to stick to that and understanding, is it all made in North America? Am I buying something generally made in North America? Okay, but let's get down to brass tacks. Or maybe I should say brass handles. Okay, so now you've decided upon a few different brands. You're looking at them comparatively. How do you compare brand to brand? Okay, so here's what I suggest to look for. Number 1, aesthetics. This does matter, right? The way the cookware is going to look on your countertop and on your cooktop matters. You want to have pride in your cookware. So, rose-tinted stainless steel may be in fashion, but I don't know, is it going to be in 30 years? Good quality stainless steel cookware that you're going to buy today is going to last you for the rest of your life. How heavy is it? So buying cookware that makes sense for you now and in the future is good money spent. So think about how heavy something is. Weigh a pan that you have. Understand it's 2 pounds, 5 pounds, whatever. Look at the cookware that you're looking online and compare that. Am I looking for lighter cookware or am I looking for heavier cookware? Heavier cookware usually is going to give you better quality. It's going to have better heat retention and hopefully over time it'll have better distribution. But weight matters. I have tons of customers that have bought a pan, loving it, and within 5 or 6 or 7 years, they're like, oh yeah, I don't use that one anymore, or I gave it away, it was just too heavy. So understand what works. So maybe smaller vessels in, say, cast iron, like an 8-inch fry pan in a field or a stargazer or something like that, 10-inch in a stargazer, or going up higher, going to like a strata for a carbon steel lined aluminum-based cookware in a 12-inch, or just a straight up stainless steel. If you're looking at something even like DeMeyer Atlantis, it's a heavier pan, but not quite as heavy as cast iron, and that could make a difference to you. So understanding the balance of the weight is really, really important. Box sets can be fantastic. They can be great value, but if you're not going to use those or love each and every piece, it's not great value. Okay, handles, really important. I love certain cookware because of the handles. I hate other cookware because of the handles. The vessels themselves are so close, it just doesn't really matter between one brand to the other, really. Just to be totally straight up, I'm thinking about ALL-CLAD or DeMeyer Industry. Like, so interchangeable, almost the same cookware. I love the handles on DeMeyer. That's me. I've never liked the ALL-CLAD handles. They've tried to improve them over time. They're a bit better on some of the vessels, but really I just don't like them. And some of the pans I just really don't like. So I would always just go to Industry because I personally like the handles. So if you're like, well, how do I know? I'm buying this online. How do I know if I'm gonna like it? There's two different things. Is a good return policy, maybe on your own dime, but will they take the cookware back if you were to buy it and you just ship it back to them? Or this can be really convenient, a try me piece. So you can buy a really greatly reduced one piece to try it and see if you like that pan. It shouldn't cost you a ton of money. If you like it, great. If not, pass it on to somebody, and it hasn't broken the bank. A good way to get a sense of, are you gonna like this type of cookware? Is the price on par with other like brands? So are you spending the right money? This may sound funny, and you wanna get a deal, you wanna search for deals. Black Friday is a fantastic time to buy cookware, but if you found a brand and it's way cheaper than another, be really cautious of actually where it comes from. There are on Amazon a lot of, say, carbon steel pans that do not list where they're from, and you've got to dig and find out, oh yeah, it's not from some Scandinavian company with this really cool Scandinavian name. It's made in China, owned by some massive company somewhere, and they are effectively duping you into buying something that you think is from Europe where it's actually from China. So as we're going into the fall and it's time for cooking with family and friends, I hope this cookware guide has been helpful to you. Please, any comments or any questions, please throw them below. Thank you.